In 1995, Jeff Bezos made a decision that would change his life and eventually change the way the world shops. But at the time, almost nobody knew who Jeff Bezos was. He wasn't a billionaire. He wasn't the founder of a global empire. He was simply a successful Wall Street executive with a comfortable career and a very promising future. Then he noticed something: the internet. In the early 1990s, the internet was still new. There were no smartphones, no social media, no Amazon app, and no expectation that people would eventually buy almost everything online. But Bezos was paying attention. While working at the investment firm D.E. Shaw, he discovered that internet usage was growing incredibly quickly. And instead of asking what the internet could do at that moment, Bezos started thinking about what it could become. He asked a simple question: what could people buy on the internet? That question led him to investigate different products that could potentially be sold online, and one product stood out: books. At first, it might seem like an ordinary choice, but Bezos had a reason. A physical bookstore could only hold a limited number of books. It had shelves, walls, and limited space. An online bookstore didn't have the same limitation. A website could offer customers an enormous selection without needing a physical store large enough to contain every title. Bezos saw something bigger than a bookstore. He saw a new way of shopping. But there was a problem. To pursue the idea, Bezos would have to leave behind the career he had already built. He had a good job, he had a secure future, and he had no guarantee that his idea would work. Online shopping was still largely unproven. People might not trust websites, they might not want to enter their payment information online, and there was absolutely no guarantee that customers would want to buy books from a company they had never heard of. Still, Bezos decided to take the risk. He left his successful Wall Street career and began building his company. In 1994, that company was founded. It would eventually become Amazon. The early Amazon was nothing like the company we know today. There were no enormous warehouses around the world, no massive delivery network, no huge selection of products, no global empire. The idea was simple: sell books online. The early operation was small, and the team had to figure things out as they went. Orders had to be processed, books had to be packed, customers had to be served, and every part of online retail had to be developed from scratch. But Bezos wasn't thinking only about books. He had a much bigger vision. He wanted Amazon to become a place where people could eventually find almost anything they wanted. And slowly, that vision became reality. Amazon expanded beyond books into music, electronics, clothing, toys, and countless other products. Then it expanded even further. The company moved into cloud computing through Amazon Web Services. It entered entertainment. It built massive logistics operations. It moved into groceries. And the small online bookstore became one of the world's most influential companies. But here's what makes Bezos' story interesting. When he made the decision in the 1990s, he didn't know how the story would end. He didn't know Amazon would become a global giant. He didn't know his company would eventually be worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And he certainly didn't know that he would become one of the world's wealthiest people. He only saw an opportunity. The internet was growing, the world was changing, and Bezos believed that people would eventually change the way they bought things. So he acted before the future became obvious. That's perhaps the biggest lesson from his story. The biggest opportunities don't always look impressive at the beginning. Sometimes they look risky, sometimes they look strange, and sometimes other people don't understand them at all. In 1995, Jeff Bezos wasn't the richest person in the world. He wasn't even close. He was simply a man willing to leave a comfortable career and bet on an idea that most people couldn't yet see. One decision, one idea, one enormous risk. And eventually one of the most remarkable business stories in modern history. Sometimes the decisions that change your life don't look important when you make them. You only understand their importance years later. And for Jeff Bezos, that decision began with something most people were still trying to understand: the internet.